Agency theory sounds technical, academic, even something that's optional to be learned. In business schools, it's introduced as a way to explain how principals, which is the owners, and agents, which is the managers, interact with each other. The goal is to align incentives, reduce conflict of interest, and make systems more efficient. But Taleb sees agency theory differently, not as a tool but as a shield, a system that separates risk from responsibility, a theory used to justify decisions that maybe hurt others as long as the decision maker, or the principal, is protected. His view is simple and brutal. Agency theory causes a lot of problems in finance if people don't understand it. It gives people the power to act without bearing the consequences. It separates skin from game. And when systems are built this way, when the people closest to the risk earn even the ones exposed to it, collapse is not a bug, it's the natural outcome in finance. Agency theory begins with a simple truth. Agents don't always act in the best interest in the principles that they serve. In business, this usually means executives working for shareholders. In politics, it means bureaucrats managing the affairs of citizens. In finance, it means advisors controlling someone else's capital. The agent makes decisions, but the principal bears the costs or gains if the agent actually does what he's supposed to do. The supposed solution to this issue of the misalignment of incentives, just make them aligning. If you align the agent's reward with the principal's outcome, the thinking goes the agent will behave correctly and will follow the principal's orders. That's the textbook story, but Taleb thinks it's more complicated than that. Incentives are easy to game. They can be rigged, front-loaded, delayed, or distorted. More importantly, incentives without downside are practically worthless. If an agent gets rewarded when things go well, but suffers no loss when things fall apart, you're not solving the agency problem. In his view, that's no skin in the game in the eyes of the agent, and that's fragility. Taleb's principle is not to align incentives, which is what normal people or normal textbooks will tell you to do. It's this: never let someone make decisions for you unless they stand to lose from being wrong. If you remember the skin in the game chapter that we discovered just a few videos ago, we can see this application in agency theory. If an agent has no skin in the game, the model is broken. Doesn't matter how aligned the contract between the principal or the agent looks on paper. If the agent doesn't suffer, if the principal suffers, they're just a risk machine with a bonus clause. He gives countless real-world examples in his books. For example, fund managers who earn 2% management fees no matter what and take 20% of gains no matter what, even if they lose for their clients of that year. Second point, CEOs who get golden parachutes after crashing their companies. Third, consultants who recommend complex solutions, collect the consulting fee, and then vanish before the company or the business that they're consulting actually reports the results. Number 4, politicians who vote for wars that they never fight in. And number 5, central bankers who make bets with our purchasing power but not with their own personal money. In each case, agency theory says just write a better contract that aligns incentives better. Taleb says this isn't enough. You must also align consequences as well. And this segues into our next point about consequences. He believes that aligning consequences is more important than aligning incentives. If you can act without consequences, you're dangerous. It doesn't matter if the incentives are aligned or you have a strong moral code. If you're wrong and someone else takes the hit, that is unethical in his view. Agency theory tries to contain this problem with incentives, but as Taleb points out, rules without personal exposure do not work. Bureaucracies are full of these people, communities, guidelines, best practices, but none of that matters when people are not directly harmed by their failures. This is why he doesn't like modern risk-taking. He's not interested in regulation. He's more interested in moral errors or ethical issues. So this is where Taleb uses one of his sharpest analogies: wolves versus dogs. In his view, the dog lives a comfortable life, it's fed, protected, and rewarded. But it's also leashed, it obeys orders, it exists inside a structure that it doesn't control. The wolf is exposed, it risks starvation, it faces danger, but it is free. It pays directly for its freedom and the consequence that it makes, and it survives based on its natural ability to adapt. Taleb believes that if one must be ethical, they must be the wolf instead of the dog. The dog doesn't face consequences for their actions, the wolf does. So this goes back into the final point that Taleb wants to make about finance. Survival in finance, being in the market for long enough, is the only true test of fitness. A trader who survives for 20 years with their own capital knows more, in his view, than any other PhD who models markets from a distance. A builder who lives in the house he builds is more trustworthy than the developer who outsources construction and sells it off plan. So, in conclusion, when working with people in finance, do not just merely align incentives, but also consequences.